President Trump is putting the impetus on China to solve the situation in North Korea. This morning, he tweeted this: China is very much the economic lifeline to North Korea, so while nothing is easy, if they want to solve the North Korean problem, they will. He delivered a similar message during a joint news conference with the Prime Minister of Italy yesterday at the White House.
As far as North Korea is concerned, we are in very good shape. We're building our military rapidly. A lot of things have happened over the last short period of time. I've been here for approximately 91 days. We're doing a lot of work. We're in very good position. We're going to see what happens. I can't answer your question on stability. I hope the answer is a positive one, not a negative one. But hopefully that will be something that gets taken care of.
Well, this all comes following North Korea's latest act of aggression, launching a medium-range ballistic missile. That missile exploded moments after takeoff. Joining me now is Governor Bill Richardson. He's the former governor of New Mexico and a former U.S. ambassador to the UN who has studied the North Korean regime and famously negotiated the release of American servicemen and hostages. Very familiar with that country. Governor, good to see you.
Thank you, Vlad. Nice to be with you.
Earlier this week, you told NPR that President Trump's position on North Korea is moving in the right direction. And in fact, you said that so far it's been restrained. Do you still feel that way?
Well, it was moving in the right direction, but I don't think it's been restrained anymore. I think the rhetoric from the administration on preemptive military strikes, moving the aircraft carrier, although it was going in the wrong direction, makes me a little nervous because I know the North Koreans are unpredictable. They're jumpy. I think the administration should cool their rhetoric and let deeds instead of words manage the policy.
And well, a lot of people feel that President Trump is also unpredictable, and something that he and his supporters have said is why they were interested in sending him to the Oval Office, because of his unpredictability. What is that? How do you see that playing out with two unpredictable world leaders in a situation like this?
Well, it makes me nervous because you never know what a tinderbox situation the Korean Peninsula is, and any little mishap could cause a war there. I mean, we have 28,000 American troops in South Korea. We've got 50,000 troops in Japan. Seoul has 25 million people. We have a treaty with the South Koreans. I think any little incident, miscalculation by unpredictability can cause a war, and it worries me. At the same time, being unpredictable certainly keeps the situation in North Korea, the North Korean leader, on his feet. So it's mixed, but I'm worried about the rhetoric. I'm worried about, I don't see any concrete policy, long-range policy, a strategy, but at the same time, it still has been restrained. A lot of bluster, but very little action.
Governor, the president is again urging China to help out with the situation in North Korea. But you say that China has no incentive to help us out. Explain that.
Well, in the past, China has not helped us. They vote with us at the United Nations on more sanctions for North Korea. But when we ask China to pressure North Korea, they don't do it. It could be different this time. I'm going to give the president a little credit. Maybe he's given them incentives by not naming them currency manipulators, by some trade benefits. Possibly the unpredictability has caused China, I believe, to pressure North Korea. They didn't do a nuclear test. It was a faulty missile test. Maybe that was the result of Chinese pressure. I think the first step is to let China pressure North Korea, see if that works, see if that restrains North Korea a bit. We don't know yet. Let's give it a little time.
Well, there are reports that Russia has sent its troops to its border with North Korea, that China has put its bombers on high alert, and that a U.S. spy plane is circling the region to keep an eye on all of this. What does this activity suggest to you? Is it something that gives you pause?
Yeah, it gives me a lot of pause because I've mentioned that the whole peninsula is on edge. It's a tinderbox. South Korea is very nervous. Japan's very nervous. China's worried about U.S. influence in the region. We've got in North Korea with a leader who doesn't talk to anybody, who shoots missile tests, who has 20 weapons of mass destruction. So, yes, I think diplomacy needs to step in. We need to find a way to deal with the North Korean regime on a diplomatic level. Maybe China can be a broker. I think some kind of deal where they're restrained on their nuclear capability, on their efforts to continue the missile tests in exchange for food, humanitarian assistance, easing of sanctions, some kind of diplomacy. I know it may be far away, but that has to be the ultimate goal.
One analyst, Governor, said to me that what North Korea is looking for, beyond even the respect, is they want to return to the policy that the United States had, for example, during the Clinton administration. Explain that to our audience, because they are in a very different situation right now, certainly after the Obama administration, when they were essentially being ignored.
Well, during the Clinton administration and in essence part of the Bush administration, there was a nuclear deal in exchange for North Korea curbing their nuclear weapons. The West, China, South Korea, Japan, the U.S. gave them food, energy assistance, nuclear reactors, an easing of sanctions. That deal worked for a while, but then the North Koreans broke the deal. Today, it seems, and under the Obama administration, the policy of strategic patience, more sanctions on North Korea, military maneuvers with South Korea. There was little diplomacy. I think what is needed now is a return to the Clinton days, where at least you try diplomacy.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, what I was sort of driving at, right, which is that during the Clinton administration, there was some kind of diplomatic solution that allowed them to receive benefits, a benefit from those diplomatic solutions. During the Obama administration, it essentially seemed as if we were going to tighten the sanctions and essentially ignore the situation, ignore the problem, and sort of hope for the best. And now we're stuck with this situation where we see a very belligerent North Korea and a very young leader trying to sow his oats.
That's right. And, you know, in fairness to the Obama administration and the Trump administration, we don't know what motivates Kim Jong-un. We don't know what he wants. He doesn't talk to anybody, but he shoots his missiles. He threatens. He has 20 nuclear weapons. He conducts nuclear weapons tests. And there's no dialogue on his part. I think he needs to be tested, not militarily, but diplomatically. And I think China, that has a lot of leverage on North Korea, if they're really serious about stability in the region, they're the one entity that can help. But we got to give them a little time to do that. I think that pressure on China to pressure North Korea possibly is working. Let's see if it's completed. Let's not rush with bluster, with military carriers going to the region, with talks of a preemptive strike, with bombers flying. Let's try diplomacy.
Governor Bill Richardson, always great to have your analysis, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.